guys, TinaGale here, and I am back today with my December album, and I had promised some prepping videos, so this is going to be the first one in a series. These videos may be a bit longer, so if you don't like long videos, please just fast forward or don't even watch, but please don't leave negative comments. That's all I ask, because I just want to share my process and give you some ideas. So this first one's going to be just getting started when you have your kit. So I purchased the kit from the scrap room, and this is what I'm going to be using, and it is chock full of products, so it is more than enough to do the entire album by itself and not add anything to it. But I, like many of you, have a ton of Christmas product because we just get inundated with Christmas every year, and there's so many new collections and we want them all. And so one thing that I like to do is go into my stash and pull just a few things to go with it so that I'm using what's in my stash and I'm bringing new life to it, and I'm putting it with brand new products, so I'm really excited to use it. So that's what this video is going to be about, is just showing you what I have pulled and give you some guidelines of things that you can go through your stash and pull and see what you would like to bring into your kit if you want to. If you didn't purchase a kit that's all put together for you, then absolutely go by these guidelines and you can pull your own kit together out of your Christmas stash and have a wonderful kit to go with or to create your December album. Whether you're doing a December daily, you're just doing a December album, which is what I'm doing, you're doing Journal Your Christmas with Shamel, anything like that. So I'll be sharing more of my process, what I'm going to do with my album this year as far as documenting. So today's video is all about bringing in the stash. And adding your stash is going to help you use up some loved materials, bring freshness to it by adding it to your new product so that you're really excited. So the first thing I do is kind of go through the collection that I'm going to use. Let's go. You can see there is just so much. I'm just going to put this up here so you can kind of see the themes that run throughout this. So if you have a starting point, you have a Christmas collection that you're building your own kit from, or you've purchased a kit other than the Simple Stories one, just pull it out and kind of look at it. Get you a notebook or a piece of paper and a pencil as we go throughout this and take some notes. So what I do is I go through and I just start looking first off kind of the feel of the collection. This one is called A Simple Vintage Country Christmas. So that kind of says it all. Everything that I'm going to pull, it's going to be vintage looking. It's going to be country, farmhouse feel. It's going to have old world Santas or that vibe of an old world Santa. So I would jot those down, those notes. I also see angels. I see birds. I see outdoor life. I see pine cones, holly and berries. So make note of all of those different things that you see in your collection that you really want to pull out. There may be some things that you really don't want to pull. Like there's enough old world Santas in this collection. I'm not pulling anything like that. I'm not even sure I would have anything. I'm not going to be pulling out deer or anything. I may pull out the birds. I like the birds if I have something with birds. I love the snowflakes. I love the poinsettias and the holly, the pine cones, the wood grain. So those would be the things that I wrote down for my list. Then I would look at the colors. It is definitely red and green. It has a touch of this kind of light baby blue. The green is more of a minty green. It's a blue green. So those are the main colors. So I would make notes what colors I have that I'm going to be working with. Then I always like to add bling. So I immediately start thinking, does this lean itself more to a silver or to a gold? And I'm also not afraid to mix those two together. And last year I did mix gold and silver. But I'm taking my cue from my album. My album has silver metal corners on the album. So I am going to go with silver. So I'm going to make a note of that. I'm going to look for silver things for my bling. Then you also kind of look at the patterns that are in the paper. So there's polka dot, there's stripes, there's plaid. Then of course your icons. So I could look at things like that when I pull for my washi, my ribbons, I'm not going to pull any extra pattern paper. I have plenty of paper in this kit, but if you're pulling pattern paper, then kind of look for those items. If you have, something that you're starting with, then repeat those items. So that's exactly how I started my list. I started with my colors, my patterns, and then the motifs. I picked out silver. I wanted red plaid definitely. And I wanted holly and poinsettias, some birds, and some snowflakes. So those are the things I'm going to be looking for when I go to my stash. Now, some types of items. Once you've decided kind of what colors, what patterns, and motifs that you're going to go for, then you're going to start thinking about what kind of items are you going to be pulling. So I have a slew full of things on my desk. One of the things that I pull are tools. So you can pull punches, dies, anything that you have like that, or if you do digital die cutting. So these are some things that I pulled to kind of give you an idea. And some of this is, these two I had purchased at a scrappy garage sale, so they've been out waiting for my Christmas album. So I want to use those. Those are new to my stash. And I definitely want to get them in. They fit. I have the pine cones, I have the holly leaves and the berries. And this, I don't know if you can see, but it's just a doily border strip. And also this circle would work, but it very much fits into the vintage and the country feel. This is something that I just purchased from an online friend, and it's a wreath with the bow, so it definitely fits in. You can see here we have a wreath on the very front of the cover, so it's perfect. I can hopefully find a place for that. I always pick out a border punch because I like border punches. So I just have this one pulled because this is one that I don't use very often, and I thought it was fitting with this and it would be cute. And if I have this out, I won't forget to go get my most loved border punches if I want them. This is another punch that I love and I usually always pull, and it's just 3 different sizes of labels, so it's perfect to stamp on, to layer clusters and kind of build things up. So that's kind of my go-to icon shaped punch. And then since we're doing a winter Christmas album, I pulled my snowflake punch. I also have this one that's just a greenery branch, and I don't use it very often, of course. So I pulled it out to kind of remember. And since this kit's not going to be out for long term, I don't mind pulling it from my stash and putting it with the kit. So those are just a few tools to kind of get started. One other thing that I forgot to mention, when I do start pulling from my stash, I find a paper that kind of has all of the colors. So like this one here has all of the colors in the color scheme. It has a few of the icons and stuff. You could definitely use this, but I kind of like just having a paper. And I keep that with me when I go pull from my stash to see if my colors are matching up and just to remind me kind of the feel that I'm going for in this album. So another tool that you might pull and use is something that I don't use at all. I collected embossing folders for a while when I first started just because it was the thing to do, and I just don't use them. So I pulled this one out. It's a snowflake, so I thought, well, while I have this, it's something quick and easy that I can do. One thing on my December albums, I don't do anything that's going to be real time intensive. That's one reason why I prep ahead. I kind of get some of the base pages done. I can move them around and change stuff. I don't tie myself into anything, but I try to get a lot of it done. So I'm not going to spend time using a lot of embellishments or mixed media, time intensive things during December when I'm putting my album together. So I did pull that out. Of course, my tiny attacher always stays in my kits. Let's see, stamps are another thing. I'm not a big stamper, but this is something else that I purchased at a scrappy garage sale recently, and I thought it was perfect to go with the theme that I'm going to be doing with my stories in my December album this year, because I'm going to be reflecting and looking back. So this says, memories are delightful little things. Remember this day, this moment, this story, this life. So mine is all going to be really story based and memories and kind of Christmas past. I'm not doing a daily. I don't do enough stuff daily and I don't want to keep up with it. So that's one other way to do it. So even though this is not a Christmas stamp, it's perfect for what I'm doing. So if you like stamping or you want to do something like that, then pull it out, pull an ink pad out. I'm just going to pull a black ink pad and a block that will fit the biggest piece, biggest stamp here. And I can real quickly stamp on a page when I'm ready to. So some of the other things that I pulled are, of course, thickers. So going with my silver theme, I had this one that I had just purchased from Tuesday Morning, and it's a nice skinny little font, so I think it will fit well on the smaller pages of this album. So I did pull it out. It also had lots of numbers. If I want to include numbers for dates, for years, and things that I'm telling the story of, I could do it. I also have this really tiny alphabet puffy sticker. That's Chamel's from Field Trip. So I pulled it out. It also has numbers if I want to use numbers. And I have a couple of small wood grain. Again, since this album's small, I'm looking for things that's going to fit in that scale. I pulled this out, and again, I'm referring back to this to make sure everything kind of matches. But I don't use numbers a lot, so I thought, well, it's a perfect time to pull this out. And again, if I put dates or things like that, I can put it on. I also have a gray and a red small alphabet, so that's pretty much all the alphabets I'm going to do. When I was digging for those flat ones, I come across this, and even though all of these colors are not in here, if I wanted a little bit different number, so that I wanted a circle, this green's going to match and the red's going to match. So anything that's on those, I could also use the brown and I could use the gray. So I went ahead and stuck those in just in case, because I do need to use those up. I have a label sticker sheet here that's Christmas themed, so I thought that was perfect. I'm going to go ahead and put that in. And I ran across this transparency that has snowflakes. I don't know if you can see very well. Oh, that's blue on blue, but it just has snowflakes up here in a white border. This is something else. I have a hard time using these, but I ran across it when I was kind of poking through for those, so I decided to throw it in there. We'll try to get it put in. This was another transparency. All my Christmas supplies are in a large drawer. Well, most of my Christmas supplies are in a large drawer. So when I was looking through for a few embellishments, I came across this scrap of this painted transparency, and I thought it really fit the theming of this collection, so I went ahead and pulled it out. I also have, these are like rub-ons, but then it has glitter paper, and there's some silver glitter. So it's been in my stash for years. Pulled it out to see if I could use it. Okay, so let's move on to, let's do bling. So let me move this out of the way. So I'm still referencing my paper here. So I went looking for bling, and some of the things that I wrote down, I also make a list. Like I write down tools, I write down stamps, bling, ribbon, washi twine, wood veneer. So I kind of make a list of different types of embellishments, and then I'll make notes out to the side of things that I remember that I have in my stash that might be fun to pull. So I kind of have a guideline. So I would recommend doing that on your list. Just write down bling, and then that will include anything from stickles, nouveau drops, sequins, buttons, enamel dots. And then I had flowers written down because I had flowers in my motif, and I knew I had some poinsettias, your thickers, your punches, your dies, your borders. So that was my list that I went to my stash with. I have this package of washi tape that I think's great because I have all of these country packages and the Christmas trees, and the colors match perfectly. I could also get away with using this little truck because I want to. I think it's so cute. So I just didn't even bother splitting that up. I just put the whole thing in here. More things for twine and ribbon. I have some rickrack. I have some glitter in silver and red. I have a red gingham, and I have a green and white chevron. Now, I could have picked up green glitter, I could have picked up more ribbon, I could have picked up rickrack in all the different colors, but I don't want to overwhelm myself. One thing that can really derail you is pulling too much product. So I tried not to do too much, and I probably still overdid it, but I tried not to. So I have ribbon and I have washi. I have this twine that I bought this year that's red, green, and white, and I thought it would be cute, so I threw it in here. So that's all I have for ribbons and things like that. Then I went for my bling, and again, I'm looking at red, green, and silver, and possibly that blue. So I have some clear bling, and then I had a couple of packages of silver, and I went ahead and did both. I have some silver sequins. I have a red gem dots. I have some wood grain. I have some green triangles. So I tried to pick different shapes, different textures, different sizes, and again, that's probably too much. You're probably better off just limiting it to a couple of colors, 2 or 3 colors and shapes, but I wasn't for sure if I'm going to pull more of the green into my album, or if I'm going to stick to the red and the blue. So I just did it. But I'm trying to keep everything contained in this small area. And the next video will be about storage. So also another thing that's bling is your Wink of Stella pens, or any of the other brands. This is a close to my heart. I have a clear one and I have a silver one that's going in the kit. Let me finish over here. I wanted buttons since this is a vintage country feel. So I found some red buttons. I found some flare, and you can see I have the poinsettia and I have that blue, and I have a red and the white and black polka dots. So all 3 of those match really well. I could finish that off. And these were just some leftover bling. So I had some green. So I will use these first. If I do those colors, I just really want to finish off all these little pieces. You can see I have wood veneer in here. So just a few pieces, but these were just some odds and ends. And then I also went through my everyday wood veneer and just pulled out kind of a representation, just some few little banners. I have this that says today is the day. I thought this would probably be a good time to kind of use that up. I have stars, and then these little asterisks or snowflakes. I have some photo corners. This is a lighter green than what's in here, but that light green does pick up in different pieces of the paper, so I think it's fine. So I had some dark green, light green, and I have some off-white photo corners. I have red buttons and then some antique looking buttons. So that's all my kind of lump and bump there. Then I wanted some doilies because again, that feels very vintage and country feel. Have that little bow as well. So I just pulled out a few. I have white and I have a red one. Really like that red. This was one of the flowers, which you'll see where this came from in a little bit. Then I had these that were in a little embellishment kit. They were with the antique buttons. And I thought these were gorgeous and would really, really look well with this collection. So I just emptied the package of embellishments all in here. And then I have a lot of these little packages, and I like making pockets in my December album. So I decided to throw one of those in just so that I don't forget that I have them. Also, don't forget your stickles, your Nuvo drops. So I have this one in red, and that's all I'm going to put in here because it will just remind me that if I want to use those, I can go pull them. And normally, if you watched my prep videos last year, you saw where I spent one day and I did all of the stickles and the Nuvo drops, things like that, on all of my pages at one time and let them dry. And otherwise, I won't use those because I don't want to wait for it to dry, and I always end up messing it up. Okay, so I have one more bin. So this will all fit in another container, but this is where I was pulling from. So this is where that poinsettia came from, and it's a little collection that has these brads that are just gorgeous. And again, now this flare goes with something else. But again, you know, I had my paper with me, and it is a perfect match to that vintage country feel. My silver, I'm picking that back up with snowflakes, and then those poinsettias as well. This one's a little bit more country. It's wood buttons that are painted, but they will look cute. I can try those. I had this package of enamel dots, and I went ahead and just threw it in because I liked the little antler since we saw the deer on the one page. So that might be a way that I can actually get this used. And then I had the number 25 and a few little stars. Then brads, I have way too many. I started with this one because it's a leftover Christmas brad pack, and it is trimmed in silver. So this is going to give me the red, the green, also the clear. I also got poinsettias, so again, and the holly. So it's a really good match. So I could do with that and no more. But I had just purchased these at Tuesday morning, thinking they would be perfect for this album because they were silver and all of the reds. So I went ahead and pulled them. Then when I went through my Christmas drawer, I found this one, and it's a winter collection. But it had some of these kind of icy blues as well as the pearls. And so I decided to go ahead and throw them in. It was near and close. And also this right here has that touch of red flower, but this same kind of icy blue. And it also had a little owl, which fits into the outdoor animal type theme. So, and it has a bird. So I went ahead and pulled it in. This is a full package of those. I have, probably won't use those. They really don't fit the feel. They were left over from this other thing that I was doing. This is left over from my gnome that I made for the scrap room. And the colors and patterns match perfectly. So this was left from making my gnome, is why it's up here, and I just left it. This I purchased at a scrappy garage sale, and again, I thought it matched so well. It goes really well with these snowflakes. So I'm going to give little borders, and since they're shorter, they're perfect for this size album. I can run that whole strip on that 8-inch side. So I put those in. Then the last thing I had was something else that was just up here from a recent purchase, and it was this chipboard piece. Now I have chipboard pieces that came in my kit, so I really don't need any other ones, but it had these branches, which really fits in with the feel of this. So I like having a little bit of texture, and sometimes it's harder to do in the small albums. So I decided to go ahead and keep it out. It was up here. So I'm just going to go ahead and use it. So that's just an idea of some of the ideas or some of the items that I list and that I pull. Some other things that you should look for, and I will have links down below, is this album is by Simple Stories. And if you're not aware, Simple Stories does free printables each month. So they have a Christmas printable right now, and it has like a list, like a Christmas list. So you could print that off and use that in your album because that's something that's not really represented in this kit. And if you're making your own, it's great free designs, and they have 3x4 cards. Now the ones that I'm going to link to, they don't match my collection. The list will, but the 3x4 cards and stuff, they don't really match my collection, but they might match what you're doing. So be sure to check those out. They also had a dashboard, and they had one that said currently. So I thought that would be really cute. You could do currently and answer all of the questions for each member of your family. So it'd just kind of be a yearly overview. But lots of cute ideas, and you can find a ton of other free printables online if you just do a search. So that is going to wrap it up. That's just pulling things from your stash to add into your kit or to create or help give you ideas if you're making your own kit. So I hope you enjoyed that. Next, I'm going to show you how in the world do you corral all this so that it's neat, it's pretty, it's inspiring, and you see it, it's all in one place where you can sit down and quickly work through it and you don't get bogged down with the holidays and fall behind. Be sure to share with me what you're doing for your December album this year, and if you're doing your own kit or if you're working along with the kit that was available from the scrap room. I would love to hear how you're getting your kit together and share ideas with all the other viewers. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back.